J.J. Watt is a washed-up player. Okay, I'm taking shots at him. I know in 2022 he had 12 and a half sacks. He's been away from football for a year. That's a long time. And when you step off the foot, look at Deshaun Watson. He's a quarterback. He stepped away from football for almost a year and a half, and he's a shell of himself. He's not the same player he was with the Texans. He's not. Don't lie to yourself. He's not. And Cleveland has to pay him for another 5 more years, the idiots that they are. But you look at J.J. Watt, and I think he was at one point one of the better defensive players in the league. I wasn't a big J.J. Watt fan. I never was. I know he's a nice guy. I know he donates a lot of his time and money to help Houston and many different people that have lost their homes in Louisiana. He's a fantastic person. He's a great, great person. I'm not taking away from he's a Hall of Famer. People, there's no doubt he's a first ballot Hall of Famer because he's a fan favorite, he's a league favorite, and he's J.J. Watt. But he's nowhere close to what his brother is in TJ. I mean, TJ is on a whole nother level. He is a sensational player. And I'm not taking away from what this family is. I mean, they're very unique and they're not human. They're not a human, bunch of boys, okay? But I cannot see DeMeco Ryans reaching out to J.J. Watt and asking him to come back. I do not. Now, J.J. Watt was a good tight end in college before he decided to move to the defensive side of the ball. Now, if they lose a tight end, if they lose Schultz or they lose
Jordan's our other one. Was pretty good for them last year, too.
They just added, Diggs. They added, weapons all around. I can't see them bringing him back as a tight end. I just don't see it. Now, J.J. Watt coming out telling you that and him coming out and saying that, he's smelling, he misses, the camaraderie. He's smelling the path back to the NFL, as well as, Tom Brady has over the last, he's been on a podcast the other day saying that if the opportunity comes, he'd come back to the NFL. And it's a joke because at Tom Brady's roast, how many comedians said that, Tom, let's hope that you don't come back. We don't need another comeback. Again, these guys, when they're great and they love the camaraderie and they love that winning, opportunity. And Tom Brady has won 7 Super Bowls. Why not go after an 8? An 8th if the Patriots, demand him to come back or I could see Robert Kraft because when Ross went over there and started to talk about massage parlors, you see Tom Brady, that was the only joke that Tom Brady got up and kind of whispered into Ross's ear, stay away from that. But if Robert Kraft came to Tom Brady and said, we need you, I think Tom comes out of retirement. I don't care if he's getting paid $330 million from the Fox Sports, and he's going to be great. I think he's another Tony Romo. He knows the game. He sees the game. If there's anybody that can do it and succeed in doing that, it's Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. But J.J. Watt is a guy that he's been on the CBS. He's been on CBS, the panel over there. He's done some play-by-play and broadcasting. I think he just needs to stay away from the game now. I think he's done. He lost a lot of weight. I don't know if anybody's seen J.J. Watt. He's dropped about 40, 50 pounds. To get back into football, football stance and as a football player, you pretty much have to gain that at least 20, 25 pounds. It's not easy to gain that weight. J.J. Watt is 35, 36 years old. He's getting up there in age. His body's starting to, break down. I think JJ just needs to stay away from the game.
Look, you know what he wants. He wants the Eric Weddle off your couch and play in the Super Bowl move. He wants, he's like, look, I gave you, it didn't work at all. And Speedy, you're right. If he came back, it would be because one of those DNs got hurt. He couldn't play tackle anymore. I think, you're selling him a little short though, Errol. Like I think he was a more impactful player than TJ Watt by a lot at his prime before he got hurt. He was like defensive player of the year or up in the running like 5 years in a row.
He would get 3. He would go off in games against, offensive lines that were horrible. When he played the Jets, he would have 3.5 sacks, and then he'll play a good offensive line like Indianapolis, and he'd get smothered. Okay. I thought he was highly overrated as a defensive lineman. Now his brother, that guy could play against anybody. That guy is a beast. TJ Watt,
but the thing
by far It's not even close. It's not even close. You can't even compare the two.
Well, I have it side by side. It looks like statistically TJ Watt's going to have more sacks, but I don't think they play the same position.
No, they don't.
That's the thing I wanted to mention is Watt, if you remember, they put him in almost every spot in the front 6 or front 7 and had him rush from different angles, have him play against different matchups. He was constantly triple teamed, and he still would get through. And he obviously played on offense as well, as you mentioned. He was one of these guys, as a coach, you're just like, this guy impacts the game so much that there's no value that you can't place on him. And TJ Watt's one of the best defensive ends in the last decade. And there's no doubt he's going to probably be a Hall of Famer too. But he didn't do all the things TJ Watt did and command all the attention that TJ Watt did on different parts of the line. And it just made him more useful for the Texans until, later on he got hurt. He became more of a specialist and he really wasn't the same guy anymore. And I think he had a shorter prime because of that. But we forget because it was right before the Aaron Donald, came into the league and started dominating. It was really the JJ Watt show for years. And I just remember being like marveling at just how he could do literally everything on the field defensively.